Hey everybody,
Hello.
here we are. We have cards from our friends at Paladin Cards, and we are super excited for this set. We normally do like some building battles and one ETB from each set, but the special thing about this set, Temporal Forces, is that it's the first set of H block. So H block, if I'm doing my math correctly, and if they continue the pattern that they've kind of set, if we're rotating one block each April, H block shouldn't rotate until about April 2027. So these cards will be legal for about 3 years, which is really exciting. Of course, they're not standard legal yet, not for a couple more weeks. But that means that they will bring in several new archetypes potentially that will continue to get support over the course of the next few sets, continuing the trend of ancient and future paradox Pokemon. And so we are really excited to see what we find in here that we can build decks with. And probably the most exciting addition to the standard TCG in this set are the Ace Specs.
Yes.
So the Ace Specs are back. Ace Specs are very powerful trainer cards, of which you can only have one in your entire deck. So similar to the Radiant Pokemon, which are still standard legal. So through our two pre-releases, we did not pull any Ace Specs between the two of us. So we're hoping that we see some hot pink today.
Something in all of this, like at least 2 or 4 something,
Something.
a few.
And hopefully not only the bad ones,
Yeah.
the less good ones. So we'll see.
Yes.
We'll have to see. So bear with us now as we launch into the long process of just opening all of the, so
yeah.
we like to open all of our packs and make stacks for ourselves and then go through the stacks one card at a time, flipping back and forth. So that's how we like to do it. So let's start with the booster box. Because that will just be
just cards.
Yeah. Do you want to like open and make stacks while I open one of the ETBs?
Yeah.
The ETB content should be pretty similar, although if I'm reading the back correctly, it looks like perhaps the two ETBs have a different promo card between them.
Oh,
It looks like this one has a Flutter Mane and that one has an Iron Thorns.
Yeah.
Which is definitely different. I guess we normally only get one ETB from each set, but I don't recall previous ETBs having different promos. But I could just be wrong about that. And if you don't mind, honey, sorry guys, but we need the code cards.
Yeah, sorry.
These days you can't turn around and like we do in real life, you can't convert fancy cards that you pull on live into more of the regular art playable cards. So we definitely like to play, so we need our code cards.
Yeah.
So that actually,
say all the boxes.
I
can recycle.
have a small trash can here. Okay, so first we'll take a look at this player's guide here. Just briefly. So again, the Paradox Pokemon are a big deal. Ace Specs being brand new. Of these three, Prime Catcher is definitely by far going to be the most useful one. Most universally useful in nearly every deck. It is an item card that forces your opponent. You get to choose one of your opponent's Pokemon to switch into the active, and then you get to switch as well. So in certain scenarios, the you having to switch can be a downside, but obviously if you plan for it, having Gust on an item that is guaranteed to work, unlike Pokemon Catcher, which requires a coin flip, is obviously very powerful. So we get some new ancient Pokemon. We get new future Pokemon and an Ace Spec that's specific to each of those. We did pull one Iron Crown EX, so pulling some more would be great. Pulling an Iron Leaves would be great. We own 1 Iron Hands, which is probably not enough to mimic the most competitive decks, but we'll see what happens. We did pull this fancy Iron Boulder EX at a pre-release. Torterra EX I would really like to pull one of. This Relicanth, we have some copies. That's an interesting one. When it's a basic, when it's in play, all Pokemon in play can use the attacks of their previous evolutions. So, obviously, previous evolutions tend not to have attacks that are super powerful, but there are certain combos with higher HPs and things. One of the ones that's been talked about some is Incineroar EX. Also using Drift Blim to copy Drift Loon's attack that does more damage for damage counters in Gardevoir. Potentially gives it 300 damage just with the Relicanth, and you don't need a tool, and you don't need Luxurious Cape, which gives up an extra prize card.
Okay.
So there's a lot of really interesting things in here. The Rabsca, that is a stage 1, but provides a better Jirachi effect because it prevents effects done to your bench by all of your opponent's Pokemon, not just basics. Well, it prevents all effects, so that's better than Jirachi, and it prevents from more than just basics, so that's also better than Jirachi. And then it also prevents damage. So it's Manaphy plus a universal... So it's Manaphy, universal damage shield to the bench, and then it's universal effect shield to the bench, which could be really important for things like TM Devolution. So Devolution is an effect that would be done to your bench. Obviously placing damage counters as well. So that's potentially very useful. Gengar EX we haven't pulled any of, but that's going to be interesting. Matang, probably most people who went to a pre-release have seen Matang.
Yep.
It's very powerful energy acceleration for obviously metal types, but then also anything that uses colorless energy could power up with Matang as well.
Yes.
So it is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Here's the set list. I'm not going to spend too much time here. But there's lots of cards we have seen, and then lots of cards we haven't seen. Raging Bolt EX is one that people are excited about.
Just so many cards.
Oh yeah, I know. There's a reason that we don't buy booster boxes all the time. One is cost, and 2 is you end up with a whole lot of duplicates as well.
Yes. Which for some things is really good. You know, you need a playset or 2 of several things, but you don't need, 18 Caterpie.
Well, and we're players, so most of what you need a bunch of copies of are trainers, and you just don't get that many trainers from opening packs like this. You almost always end up having to go and buy more. I think I just bought like 9 Iono for, trying to get towards free shipping, and I didn't end up even getting free shipping, but... I realized after I had loaded some things into the cart that it was like free shipping at $50, not $5. So I was like, oh, never mind.
Just kidding.
Okay, so there's that. Let's open this up because then most of this should be pretty similar. I'll put this little booklet off to the side. Oop.
Throw
it on the floor. Alright, so here's our packs. Just add those to the pile. You're doing great, honey.
Thanks.
We've got our poison and burn markers. We've got more... Oh, these ones have an EX.
I like those.
You like that color?
Yes.
Yeah. We've got some ETB sleeves. Can you put that with the code cards? We've got some ETB sleeves featuring Walking Wake, which is the ancient version of Suicune. And I just learned via Twitter, we don't have the DLC for Violet. So I just learned via Twitter that in the DLC, they go ahead and say that the ancient and future Pokemon are not from the future and past per se. They are from alternate timelines. So that there are things about that that I like better, and there are things about that that I like less than thinking that they're all in the same one timeline, just from the future and the past. One thing that I like better about it that I've been kind of miffed about is I really like the original origin story for the legendary dogs, legendary beasts in Johto, that they were Pokemon that died in the bell tower, the burned tower, when it burned down, and then Ho-Oh, created them into Entei, Suicune, and Raikou. And the idea of having Walking Wake, Gouging Fire, and Raging Bolt as past versions of them, I felt like really invalidated that story. So now
so you feel that's better.
So I feel that's definitely a piece that the alternate timeline version of the story makes me feel better about, because I don't want that story to be completely invalidated. Okay, here is our Fluttermane promo. Very, very pretty. Yeah. So Fluttermane is an ancient version of Misdreavus.
Yes, I got a regular Fluttermane.
Yeah, we have several. So it's an ancient Pokemon. The interesting thing about it, with path rotating, is that its ability, Midnight Fluttering, prevents your opponent's active Pokemon only from having no abilities. So, for instance, they can't... hey, Garrett!
Hi.
Thanks for joining us! So, for instance, if Fluttermane is your active Pokemon, and that's as long as it's in the active spot, it prevents your opponent's active from having abilities. So, for example, they can't evolve their active Charmander into a Charizard EX and then use Infernal Rain to accelerate energy, because the Charizard EX has no abilities as soon as it's in play due to Fluttermane. The attack is not that great. Honestly, it probably would have been fine for just 2 colorless, but it takes 3 colorless, 90 damage, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. So probably not game breaking, especially since there's not a great way to augment the damage of ancient Pokemon. But we'll see. We'll see. That's certainly one that I would set aside as interesting. I honestly don't even know if I would open these, because we've got plenty of the common ones. Here's our energy brick and obligatory divide. Ooh, these are kind of nice. They're like shiny dividers.
They are. From the angle that you pulled them out, they looked black and blue. It's like, oh, that doesn't match the... It does match. They're just shiny. I was trying to see that.
Yeah, so we'll put our supplies here off to the side, knowing that we're about to get another set as well. We do like to use ETB sleeves, as we occasionally do like at-home build and battle tournaments, and those are fun to run in ETB sleeves.
Yes.
And then we like to use ETBs themselves. We'll do things like label them H block Pokemon, and we'll need several eventually for all of H block.
Yeah,
and
so then we'll divide them by type.
Yep. Divide them by type, and then alphabetical by family within their types. So we definitely use ETBs for storage.
Yes.
So that's a reason that we like to get an ETB from each set, because we constantly need more storage.
Yes.
And then as trainers rotate out, which I'm not looking forward to having to take out all of the E-block trainers from my trainer binder
we have a lot.
here in a few weeks. As the trainers rotate out, we'll put all of the rotated trainers into an ETB to store them, and we'll label that like E-block trainers, so that we know that we don't need them anymore. I'm imagining that this is identical except for the cover art. I can't really think that it would be any different. That's picture's different too. So there's 2 cards that are only in 3-pack boosters.
Oh.
Cleffa, a new Cleffa, also with 30 HP and free retreat, and a no-cost attack. Twinkling Hope, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Meh. That's I don't think that's as good as the other Cleffa, which is Shuffle Draw 7 as its attack, similar to the old Cleffa. And then this Cyclizar, flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, draw a card. I don't love that.
I don't think I wish ever draw cards.
I wish that would be better. Yes, let's go Prime Catcher. We definitely want to find those. I think it would be better if it was like, for each head, draw one card, draw one additional card, draw one card, flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, draw one additional card. Like, that would be, I think, maybe have potential.
Right.
But the idea that, like, you get 0 cards or you get 20,
right.
Of course you're very unlikely to get 20, but...
Right.
Plus, hand disruption is just so prevalent. That's why I don't love the, search and put into your hand as an attack, because it's just so likely that... So these are the die, the damage counter die are the same color, but this is like a green... a green die, whereas the other one was like blue.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the same.
Yep.
We've got our Iron Leaves, also shiny, shiny. Dividers, Energy Brick. Okay, there's the Iron Thorns. We'll highlight that in just a second. Okay. And there's our ETB sleeves. Oh, I should mention briefly, we have these here. So Paladin is always great about if you ask for suckers, they will give you some yummy suckers. I think our oldest boy actually had one as his treat for dinner tonight.
Yep.
And then they also sent us this super cute Charmander sticker. It's so cuddly.
Yeah, so adorable.
Put those off to the side now. Here's our Iron Thorns ETB promo. Honestly, this card is almost tempting. I mean, in theory, if you could build an entire deck, you would obviously need energy. And there's no future energy right now. But if you could build an entire deck almost with only future cards, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 damage for each future card you find there. Then discard those future cards and shuffle any other cards back into your deck. I mean, in theory, if almost all of your cards are future cards, you're hitting... What's my math? Like 210 to 280. And if you happen to attach a future booster energy capsule, then you're adding 20 to that. So... in theory, as a single prize deck, this is very tempting, and several of us, if you played pre-release, you might have ended up using this card. I know I did in my second pre-release, but it's also, if you are unlucky or you don't build your deck well, you can be doing nothing. 0 damage, which probably happened to you in pre-release as well.
Yeah.
So there's our ETB promos. Alright, we are almost there.
So, this is your last pack.
That's my last pack?
Yeah.
So, okay. So I just need to make sure that I put these in a different pile. Oh no!
Come back, phone. There it is. Alright, there.
Okay, so there's that. Yeah, Garrett, you and I have talked about this could be a place where Miriam really shines because she's shuffle 5 Pokemon back and then draw 3 cards. So obviously in this case you don't really want to draw your future cards, but you will need, You need to be able to set up at least one more attacker at a time and things, because most likely Iron Thorns is getting knocked out in retaliation. But you have the potential to reload your deck with future Pokemon and then, unleash big attacks repeatedly.
Right.
So we'll see if it ever sees any play. Okay.
Hold on. Sorry.
Nope. You're fine. Here. I love you, honey.
I love you.
This is exciting.
It is exciting. There's a lot going on this table.
There's a lot of things I could say that I'm looking for. I think one of the big ones that I'm surprised we didn't get any of in the pre-releases are the single prize Roaring Moon. I don't think we got any of those.
I think I pulled a Roaring Moon.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have to look again. We certainly don't have a playset of them, and it's a very powerful attacker in the fully single prize ancient box, or nearly fully single prize ancient box if you can find it. So, or if you can build it. So,
right.
Do you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure.
So we'll just do one pile for each type.
Okay.
Of all the single prizers, and then. That'll make it easier for us to organize them and put them away later.
Yeah.
And then a rule box Pokemon. We'll do a pile for each type of trainer.
Energy over here?
Yeah. Basic energy can go over there. Trainers, special energy, we'll have like a pile for those.
Yeah.
And rule box Pokemon will be separate.
Yes.
Okay?
All right. Ready?
All right.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Fighting energy.
Darkness energy.
Iron Thorns.
Iron Thorns.
You just want to put lightning here?
Sure. Relicanth.
Charjabug.
Charjabug. What is it?
Static shock, 60 damage. Has
for
100.
2 lightning?
Yeah, it's 100 HP.
Oh, hey look. Fancy Grodel.
Ooh, that is a pretty card.
Now, this is not the better Grodel for a long time will still be the one that has Sun-Drenched Shell.
Mm-hmm. Can you go down? Good.
You're going to be on camera if you come over here.
And you can go through briefly. That is pretty.
We'll just make a separate pile for like illustrated. What is this? What is this technically labeled as? It is. Oh, it just has a gold star. I think the Japanese ones are labeled like secret illustrator rare or illustrator rare.
There's a guide in the book to tell you what they are.
But it's very pretty, and I like the there's a Meryl on its back, and then there's one following in its wake.
Yeah.
In the path.
All right. Rellor.
Rellor.
There we go.
Good. We need that. Oh, okay. This Colossal is really interesting.
Oh, sorry, we're lagging.
That's okay. We'll get there.
Maybe.
Nope. Well, let me read it to you. So, its first attack takes 1 fighting to utilize. It's called Gatling Tar. This attack does 80 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. So 40 plus 80 times X. X being the number of fire energy. What's really interesting about this Pokemon is it is a single prize, stage 2, which means that it can utilize reversal energy. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a single prize evolution Pokemon, so therefore it can utilize reversal energy. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's still a good idea. Yeah. What's really interesting about reversal energy and luminous energy, and they're just disconnected again.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about reversal energy and luminous energy and multi-energies like that is while each individual energy only counts as 1, like you can't get to more than 4. You can't get to more than 3, so you can't get to 4 or more energy in total with something like a reversal energy. Each of those individual energy count as all types at once. So what that means is with a single reversal energy on this Colossal, you both unlock the attack with the fighting energy cost, and you have 3 fire energy attached.
Yeah. Wait,
3 fire energy attached. Because each one counts as both fighting and fire and every single type.
Reversal energy?
Yes, reversal is 3.
Yeah. So how do you have 3 fire attached at the same time?
Because each one counts as all types at once.
It doesn't only count as one type at a time?
Nope. Each one counts as all types at once. There's already a ruling about this with a Tinkaton that has an attack that only takes 1 energy, but it says it's like a psychic, and it says if this Pokemon has any metal, or maybe it's metal, and it says if this Pokemon has any psychic, it does X more damage, and the ruling says if you have a 1 Luminous on, you still do the additional damage. Like, you can use the attack and you do the additional damage.
That's cool.
It's 1 energy that is both metal and psychic at the same time. So same thing applies for reversal. So if you do the math on that, then 80 times 3 is 240, plus 40 is 280. This single prize stage 2 hits for 280 damage, 240 plus 40, 280 damage for 1 reversal energy.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
I think he has potential.
Yeah, that's crazy. Fortress,
cool. If we pull any Pineco, we'll have to put it
underneath of it,
Iron Valiant. So there are 2 single prize Iron Valiant in here. One has the attack Gemini Laser that does 20 and 20 to one of the bench.
Yeah.
And then Zen Blade 120, can't use Zen Blade again next turn. I had 1 of each in my first pre-release deck. Yeah. Oh, perfect!
Rabsca.
You pulled the Rellor and the Rabsca together.
Did that last time.
Zeraora.
Hand Trimmer.
Ah, yes. Hand Trimmer is a very interesting card. Each player discards cards from their hand until they have 5 left. That means your opponent gets to pick which cards they discard, so that's potentially advantageous for them. One of the most interesting things about Hand Trimmer, which will probably be played in control decks, is that there is an older Amoonguss card that says if it gets discarded by the effect of one of your opponent's cards, your opponent has to discard their hand. So I'm curious if anybody will ever start playing that. It obviously depends on the meta, because that's pretty much the only time that it's useful. There aren't really many other... It might not just say cards, but there aren't many other things that discard cards from your hand. And Hand Trimmer lets you intentionally select the Amoonguss. Yeah. So that will be very interesting. Probably like a little farther down, because we might need room for it. I'm not sure how many types we'll end up with. Okay, Screamtail. This is by far the worst of the 2 Screamtail cards that have been printed. But Supportive Singing is interesting. Heal 100 damage from one of your benched ancient Pokemon for 1 energy.
Okay, Dunsparce.
Okay, cool. The Dunsparce is really good in this set. Breloom. Knuckle Impact 120 during your next turn. This Pokemon can't attack.
Finizen.
Not as good as the Finizen from the other pre-release that lets you switch it. You get to evolve it and then switch it to the bench or something. Okay, Beldum. Metal.
Ghastly.
There's a very good... Wait, is the Gengar that lets you switch in this set, or is it in the previous set? I guess we'll find out. But there's also Gengar EX in this set, which is good. Oh, that was your...
Yep.
Hoot.
Mudbray.
Turtonator. This attack does 40 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Fire colorless. Steam Artillery 100. Okay. For a second, I read it as 40 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and that would have been much better. Oh, let's slide these down slightly.
Yeah. Sorry. There we go.
Alright. Your turn.
Grass energy.
Alright. Metal energy.
Feraligatr.
A very interesting card that hits for 280 if you use the ability. So Giant Wave does 160. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Giant Wave. That's probably fine because it's probably not surviving through the next turn anyway.
Right.
But especially after you use Torrential Heart, which puts 5 damage counters on Feraligatr and then allows it to do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So 160 plus 120 is obviously 280. 280 is a really big number when you're talking about V-stars. The big number with EXs, with stage 2 EXs, is 330 because that's Charizard.
Right.
If you have the maximum belt on this, which is one of the ace specs, that adds 50, so it turns all of those 280 attacks into 330 attacks.
Right.
But the problem is just being able to set up Feraligatr and being able to accelerate energy to it. Since it's a stage 2, the best water energy accelerator right now is Baxcalibur, and trying to set up multiple stage 2s
seems like a lot.
Is a lot. Is a lot.
Here you go.
Okay. Iron Boulder EX. So we pulled one of these. We pulled the fancy one, and we pulled another one of these, the regular art Iron Boulder EX. So it's a fighting type future Pokemon. Repulsor Axe, 60 damage, fighting colorless. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if it is knocked out, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Note that is damage, not counters. So something like, or effects. So something like Frenzy Gouging would not trigger this, and something like Mimikyu, I'm blanking on its attack's name, but to put 7 damage counters, that would not trigger this. But any attack that deals damage would trigger it. So I guess if your opponent is forced, that effect is on on Iron Boulder EX, so if they don't switch out the Iron Boulder somehow, then the effect remains. So if you're hitting into a Pokemon and then they attack with the same Pokemon, you're doing 80 plus 60, so that's 140, which isn't crazy. Power Stomp 200, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. I'm not sure if Iron Boulder EX will really see play, but as we have to remember with all of the future Pokemon, they do have multiple ways to augment their damage output. Cutiefly. Lycanroc. Turbo Edge, 50 damage. Attach up to 2 basic fighting energy cards from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Energy acceleration is always has potential, and there hasn't been a ton of fighting energy acceleration recently.
Another Ghastly.
Okay, now this card, Bronzong. I am very interested in this card, especially with the card Salvatore in this set.
Yeah.
Which potentially allows you to evolve a Bronzor into a Bronzong and attack on your first turn going second. So, Evolution Jammer. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their Pokemon. So what's really interesting about that is that also blocks Rare Candy evolutions because that's from the hand.
Right.
It does not block TM evolution.
Okay.
But something like a Charizard deck, if they use TM evolution to evolve 2 Charizard, they can't use Infernal Rain because Infernal Rain is only triggered when they evolve from hand.
Okay.
So the Bronzong is very interesting.
Sandy Shocks.
The single prize Sandy Shocks is not very interesting to me. The multi-prize Sandy Shocks that accelerates, it lets you accelerate, it's not in this set, it lets you accelerate a fighting energy for each Sandy Shocks as long as your opponent has 4 prizes or less. So I'm really trying to think of some kind of deck that uses the Sandy Shocks plus Fortress EX, so grass and fighting energy. Because you knock out your own Fortress EX, your opponent takes 2 prizes. you obviously then immediately want to start Ionoing them, but you also want to get, if you can get energy in the discard, then you can just start re-accelerating it with Sandy Shocks, and I'm trying to think of what would be the best attacker to pair with that. Obviously, anytime you have a stage 2 support or a multi-prize support Pokemon like that, the Sandy Shocks itself doesn't have that great of an attack. But if you have a multi-prize support Pokemon like that, you need an attacker that is so much of a threat that your opponent can't afford to ignore it.
Right.
So I haven't dug a lot, but that's like the vague concept of an idea that I have. My turn? I'm talking a lot.
You are talking a lot.
Roserade.
I love you.
I love you.
Rescue board.
Alright, Katie says we have to speed up.
It is 8 o'clock and we
still... Well, the thing is, honey, once you've talked about all the cards, then you don't have to talk about them again. The Metagross, an interesting attacker for Metang decks. Probably good to have at least one as an option. You know, dealing 200 with a single prizer is pretty cool.
Yep.
But Rescue Board is also pretty cool. So retreat costs 1 less, but if the Pokemon has 30 HP or less, retreat cost becomes 0.
Yes.
So that's really cool.
Yes, that is a cool card. Iron Hands.
Iron Hands, single prize Iron Hands.
Single prize, yeah.
I think there's potential for a single prize future box, but it wouldn't have the damage augmentation from Iron Crown, which is the main thing. So, Sharpedo. Bronzor. Okay, it is Psychic type. I was wondering.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either.
Torracat, the less good Torracat. Victini. Flippity Flip. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then... Oh, Flippity Flap. Flippity Flap.
Sorry.
Very important. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards. Yamper.
Raichu. Aw, that's a cute one. He's like sleeping.
For all of our basic Pokemon, the big number to be looking for will be 70 HP or more. Like the Bronzor has 80. Yeah. That's actually worse because of Buddy Buddy Poffin. Only grabs 70 HP or less. Right. Heatmore. Licking Flames. 130. Flip 3 coins for each tails. Discard an energy from this Pokemon. Okay, that's not good. I thought it was for each heads, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon.
That would have been really good.
Yeah, Garrett, I know, very much wants to play Metang with Dialga. 1 copy of Metagross definitely going in my Dialga deck since you lose Magnezone 120 damage and Metang is only 60. Yeah. And honestly, Meteor Mash is not terrible. For 1 energy, especially if you can trap something like a Bibarel or whatever.
Yeah. Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime.
Oh, alright. Like
Look-alike show. This is a very interesting attack. Your opponent reveals their hand. You may use the effect of a supporter card you find there as the effect of this attack. And then Guaranteed Confusion is always interesting. We definitely saw with the item lock Venomoth. Now, obviously, that's good because it's item lock plus Guaranteed Confusion, but Guaranteed Confusion, if your opponent can't get out of it, is really problematic. Yeah. My turn. Okay, Roly-Coly. It's going to be important if you want to play Colossal.
Yep. Fighting Energy.
Grass Energy.
Iron Valiant.
Iron Valiant. This is the other one.
This is the other one.
So, calculation, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. So, essentially, Pokedex. Slightly worse Pokedex as an attack. But, Majestic Sword, 100 plus. If you played a future supporter card from your hand during this turn, this attack does 100 more damage. Yep. So, 200. Yeah. Again, with the possibility of damage augmentation from future Pokemon. So, I think that's... And the Miraidon, which we have plenty of, so we'll probably pull at least 1, but if we don't, it's totally fine. The Miraidon also uses Psychic Energy, so you could potentially do a Psychic and Lightning focused future single prize box with this and the Miraidon and Iron Thorns. My turn.
Yeah.
Hey! I was just talking about this guy.
Oh, yeah?
It's Miraidon.
Nice.
And Miraidon's big thing is peak acceleration, which only does 40 damage, but again, you can augment that. Peak acceleration, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your future Pokemon in any way you like. Is it Lightning, Psychic?
Yes.
And this is Psychic, colorless. So
right.
For the big attack.
Metacham.
Nothing complicated there.
Exciting.
Cutify.
Iron Hands.
Miraidon is Dragon.
Oh, I am so sorry. I don't have room for him. There, put him right there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 10 types. So yeah, we should not put the dragon right next to the lightning because they look so similar.
Yeah,
so let's put
clearly
dragon over
they
here.
clearly look similar.
Fortress.
Great Tusk.
Which one is that? Is that the discarding one? Yeah. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck, so mill 1. If you played an ancient supporter card from your hand during this turn, discard 3 more cards, so then it becomes mill 4, which is not insignificant.
No.
Boltund, 50 damage. Search your deck for up to 2 basic lightning energy cards and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. It's a stage 1, so this isn't something you're going to be attacking with turn 1 going second like Miraidon, but again, energy acceleration, always worth thinking about.
Right. Vikavolt. Circuit Cannon 120 plus. This attack does 80 more damage for each of your benched Charjabug.
Which, right now at least, well, other than that Renucleus, which is really interesting and is in this set, we pulled a fancy one. We'll have to see if we pull another one. Yeah. But there's not an easy way to get a Vikavolt into play in the active spot and have multiple bench Charjabug, and then be ready to have like another Vikavolt the next turn. But in theory, I guess with the Renucleus, you could theoretically have 4 Charjabug and a Vikavolt, a rare Candied Vikavolt in the active spot, or even just a Vikavolt, because Renucleus can put any Pokemon onto the bench. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's a stage 2, and that's a stage 2, so I guess the Renucleus is accelerating your evolution, so to speak. But in theory, the most you could do would be 8 times 4, 240. No, 320. 320 plus 120, which is 440. So in theory, that Vikavolt could do 440. I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
But
theoretically. Hard to set up. But
okay, Rapidash. You just kicked my butt with old school Rapidash.
Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. I used that multiple times during our pre-release.
A very good and interesting supporter, yes. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule is a tool.
Tight, sorry.
Marrow.
Mawile.
Invite and Strike. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. This attack does 30 damage to the new active Pokemon. So, Gust on an attack is not always bad, and it does a little bit of damage. Sizzlepede.
Pineco. Oh wait, this needs to go
with Fortress. Yes. Scyther, without Free Retreat, which is sad, but Scyther's always cool. I do like the art there.
Yeah. Peta.
This one's really interesting. Do you mind reading Emergency Evolution?
Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's HP is 30 or less, you may search your deck for an Unpheasant or an Unpheasant EX and put it onto this PETA to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck.
And I'm pretty sure they have not revealed an Unpheasant EX yet. So that's really interesting. The other really interesting thing is that Gapejaw Bog is still legal. So you could potentially just put Gapejaw Bog into play, play PETA from your hand, 20 damage to it from Gapejaw Bog, and now you can immediately use Emergency Evolution to evolve it.
That's
So
cool.
the question will just be, is the Unpheasant or Unpheasant EX worth that once it has 20 damage on it?
Right.
And can you power it up and attack in one turn?
Right, yeah.
Aw, cute Pikachu.
Aw, that is a cute Pikachu.
Your turn.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good.
Water energy.
Water.
Gouging
fire. Ooh.
It's a card.
It is very pretty. Do you mind reading it?
Alright. Blaze Blitz does 260 damage. This Pokemon can't use Blaze Blitz again until it leaves the active spot.
That's interesting. It is ancient, right?
Yes.
And then the cost is fire, colorless.
Yeah. Just slightly.
Yeah, we should have plenty of room. Yeah. We still theoretically need a spot for stadiums and let's just move these all the way up. Okay. Or closer.
Yeah, closer.
Stadiums and special energy, because there's at least mist energy in this one. Okay, my turn. Whimsicott. Kyle would be very pleased. This is an interesting one. They talk about it in the booklet that in theory, so when you play it from your hand to evolve, you get to heal all damage from your active grass Pokemon. So in theory, you have like Torterra EX in the active spot. I know, it'll come back. You have Torterra EX in the active spot, and it... Garrett, let me know if you can still see us, like the big top-down view. Torterra EX is in the active spot, maybe with or without the cape that adds 100 HP, and if it survives a big hit, you play Whimsicott and heal all the damage. Of course, your opponent's gonna know that you're trying to do that, but sometimes you leave them like without a choice.
Right. Like in Rock?
Reverse Hollow, for cute Pikachu. Wiglet. Fantastic. Thank you. Lucky Find, search your deck for an item card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Ah, yes. Sizzlipede. Is that a different one? No, it's the same one, just reverse hollow.
Iron Jugulis,
yep.
Alright. Automated combat. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's active Pokemon, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So that's fun. And then its attack is 3 colorless, blasting wind, 110 damage. That's it.
Yeah, the other Iron Jugulis that has come out is interesting because it's like put 50 damage or 30 damage on 3 of your opponent's Pokemon or something like that. But it takes like 5 colorless, but then it says if you have a future booster energy capsule attached, it only takes 3 colorless or something like that. But it's like a big cost for not hugely game-breaking attack. So anyway, hey, future booster energy capsule, which is actually G-Block. You'll notice they just reprinted it in this set. Is it actually numbered? Yeah, it is in this set, but it is
G-Block.
Still G-Block. Yeah.
Bianca's Devotion. Heal all damage from one of your Pokemon that has 30 HP or less remaining.
That is the foil to Zarina. Zarina EX.
Yeah.
Okay, Rabombi. Oh. Plentiful Pollen, 30 damage. During your next turn, if the defending Pokemon is knocked out, take 2 more prize cards. So it puts an effect on the defending Pokemon, which means if that Pokemon evolves or moves to the bench, that effect goes away, which is why this is not going to see play.
Yeah.
But in theory, you pair this with something that tries to block retreating, like Spidops or something.
In some way.
and then you theoretically could take 3 prizes off of a single prizer.
Yeah.
So that is interesting, at least.
Oh, the pile slid.
Oh, thank you. It's very interesting.
It's very interesting. Shift tree.
They always have really interesting attacks.
Yeah, there's a lot of text on this card. Expelling Tornado for 1 grass. Choose 3 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. If you do, shuffle all of your opponent's bench Pokemon that you didn't choose, and all cards attached to those Pokemon into your deck. Into their deck, sorry.
Into your
deck.
Take control of your opponent's deck and shuffle it into yours.
Oh my goodness.
Your opponent now decks out.
Stop it. And then its other attack is Energy Loop for 2 colorless. It does 140 damage. Put an energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand.
You know, I can honestly see Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something
doing something crazy.
Well, I could see them doing an effect that's like, switch decks with your opponent. You now play the rest of the game with your opponent's deck. Could you imagine? That would just be insane.
Oh.
So Garrett said that he pulled off the Rabombi 3 prizes for a 1 prizer in pre-release. Cool.
Nice.
That's super cool.
And pre-release, that's huge, because pre-release is only 4 prizes.
Okay, this card is not good, but I did use it in a pre-release, and it was very interesting. Boxed order. Search your deck for up to 2 item cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Your turn ends. So, okay, it could be used in control, which is not really planning to attack all the time anyway. So that's where it will potentially be good. Otherwise, you're mostly going to want to use it like for Buddy Buddy Poffin to then set up on your next turn. Solosis? Yep. It's like Solosis, Duosion, and Renucleus. They're the cell Pokemon. Here's Tranquil. So Tranquil is the stage 1 of P-Dove, and Unpheasant is the stage 2, and the emergency evolution lets you skip the stage 1.
Right. Slugma.
If your opponent's active Pokemon is burned, this attack does 40 more damage. Metacham.
Lickitung.
Okay, this one is actually really interesting. Garrett and I were talking about this. Tongue Pool. Your opponent reveals their hand. Put up to 2 basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench. So you can imagine if your opponent's playing, like, let's say they're playing a deck, like the crazy deck that Tord played, that had, like, Rotom-V, Squawkabilly, and Lumineon in it. You put this down, you pull them onto their bench, and now they've got these useless, or nearly useless.
Because they can't use the come into play effect.
Correct, because it's not them playing it from their hand.
Okay. I was like, why would you want to... That makes so much sense.
And then you take up 2 bench spots, and you have these nice squishy 2 prizes. Garrett likes to say squishy a lot. You have these nice squishy 2 prizers just sitting there waiting to be knocked out.
Right.
Again, if this sees play, it'll probably most likely see play in control. But potentially, you could also use this in Incineroar to force Pokemon onto your opponent's bench, which then gives you less cost in your attack.
Nice.
So that your opponent can't sit there and say, well, I'm just not going to bench
I'm not going to bench your Pokemon.
I'm going to say, oh, but
yes,
you will. Of course, they can then turn around and evolve those Pokemon in the next turn. So you need to be careful about what you're benching. You could theoretically help them. Of course, if it's already in their hand, why didn't they bench it in the first place?
Well, if you're playing Incineroar, they would not want to.
Exactly. So, was that your...
I think so.
We'll figure out when we get to the energy.
Yeah, we will.
Grubbin. Search your deck for up to 2 Grubbin and put them onto your bench.
Shroomish. Flip 2 coins. This attack does 10 damage for each heads.
See, they knew. They didn't want you to be able to pair Grubbin with Renucleus really easily, so they made it 2 Grubbin instead of just 2 Pokemon. Because there are other Pokemon that have that attack. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. Okay, Yamper. What would have been really cool is if it was Charjabug. Search your deck for up to 2 Charjabug and put them onto your bench.
Grass Energy.
Okay. Darkness Energy.
Koraidon.
Okay, this one's really good. as an early attacker in the fully single prize ancient box, Primordial Beatdown 30 times each of your ancient Pokemon in play. So at max, that's 6 times 3, which is 180. You could potentially hit 180 on turn 1 going second with a single prizer. Nice. That is not insignificant. Right. And Garrett and I were battling with that last on Sunday. Okay, Relicanth, very good. Ooh,
full art Lickitung.
Fancy. Is that the tongue pool? Is the attack?
I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to find the camera. Very pretty. It is tongue pool. It's looking at like a snow cone. That's cute.
That's really cool. Those are ones we'll be like, hey people
guys.
who buy cards, let us turn these into more playable cards. Like, can I have more Buddy Poffin, please? Many more. Behemoth. 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in play. So, 120 max. For a single Psychic Energy.
Bianca's Devotion.
Oh, sorry. Roselia, Reverse Hollow.
Shaman. This is the Pinpoint Drive one. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon EX or benched Pokemon V.
Okay, you wouldn't apply weakness.
Right, no weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon, but
it attacks the bench.
It attacks the bench for 1 Grass Energy for 60.
On a basic.
Yeah.
Boxed Order.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't sure where you were going.
I was thinking it was going in that pile, and that was incorrect.
Golurk.
Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. Fighting Fist. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX or Pokemon V, this attack does 120 more damage. So for 4 energy.
For 4 energy, oof. Yeah.
That's rough.
It's a lot.
Although that's potentially an attacker you could use with Sandy Shocks. But the problem with that is...
I mean, you can also pair it with the Bronze... or the Metang because it's colorless energy.
Ooh, I like it.
I had that in one of my pre-release decks. My first one. I didn't get to use it, but I had it in there because its second attack is only colorless.
That is a good idea.
So...
I like the way you think.
Thank you.
Okay, Colossal. I like him. Yes, yeah. I want... That's at least 3 that we have now.
Full Metal Lab.
Ah, yes. Full Metal Lab was really fun to pull in pre-release, and it'll be definitely a consideration for our Dialga playing friends. Garrett. Metal Pokemon, both yours and your opponents take 30 less damage from attacks. I mean, 30 damage is not insignificant.
Yeah, that was mine.
Airy, okay. This one is a much talked about card. Probably will mostly be played in Control, but any deck with a really strong onboard draw that can afford to give up its supporter for Disruption could play this. Your opponent reveals their hand. You discard up to 2 item cards you find there.
Okay.
So you can potentially wreck, especially if they're a rare candy focused deck. Like you can really wreck their board. Yeah. Or they're totally set up to just like Ultra Ball for Bibarel on the next turn, and you're like, nope, no, Ultra Ball gone.
No Ultra Ball. Yeah. Deerling.
Marrow.
Totodile.
Sizzlipede. That's the 3rd Sizzlipede I've pulled. Probably not the last one. C-Dot. Rigidify. Oh, it takes 30 less. That's not good enough. So yeah, this is what you need. Hide. Flip a coin. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. That's what you need on a basic to even potentially make it worth it. Meltan. The Melmetal is really interesting, too, as a potential attacker to pair, a single prize attacker to pair with Metang.
Lightning Energy.
Fire Energy.
Iron Thorns.
Iron Thorns. Melmetal. Haha.
Hey!
230 for 5
Holy
energy.
mackerel.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, you've got to pair that with Matang.
Yeah, that's a lot. Although in theory it could also use reversal.
Yeah.
And then you only need to hit 2 off the Matang, and then you start powering up your next attacker. Yeah. Ooh! What is it? What is it? Oh, it's the Raging Bolt! It's the Raging Bolt!
Ooh,
Yes!
that is a pretty card!
That is exciting, not only because it's pretty, but also because Raging Bolt is one of the more playable EXs in this set. And so this, I think, will be one that will be in higher demand, because if it is both collectible and playable, people will want it, which means we can potentially use it to get a whole lot of Buddy Buddy Puffin. A whole lot of Buddy Buddy Puffin.
Oh boy.
And maybe some regular Raging Bolt EX too. So super duper cool Raging Bolt EX right there. You already showed it.
Yeah,
up.
I
Right, cool.
tried to. I hope they could see it.
I got a hoot.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
You sound so disappointed. Grodel.
Well, what's interesting about this is the way we do it, like the slot after the energy is like the rare slot. So you got the Iron Thorns, and then you pulled this Raging Bolt right after it. So that's why I was like, wait a minute, are we off? So yeah, that's fun. Licky. Okay, so the Lickitung will see play. The Licky, I don't know. Body Slam, 2 colorless. Flip a coin if heads. The opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Always nice potential. It's kind of a throwback to the original Lickitung, which is funny. Tungnado. Flip 4 coins. This attack does 70 damage for each heads for 4 colorless. That is not reliable.
No.
Powerful, but not reliable. Excadrill.
Oh, I don't like Wild Attack. It also does 50 damage to itself. It does 180 damage, but
I mean that's not nothing.
Scary.
That is potentially Zoroark rotates. Oh, so sad. I looked at that and I was like, that's a Zoroark fighting type attacker, but nope. Never mind. Iron Valiant.
Bronzong.
Sableye. Ooh, okay, so I had this in one of my pre-release decks, and I never got to use it, but it is very interesting to me. Damage collection. You may move any number of damage counters from your opponent's benched Pokemon, all of them, to their active Pokemon.
Oh.
And you don't have to move, like, you can leave, like, you can move just enough to get the knockout and leave the rest.
Leave the rest, yeah.
So it's not like move all.
Yeah.
So in theory, you could have some kind of deck that spreads a bunch of damage out, and then you're just like, woof, knockout, woof, knockout. So I think he's interesting. I don't know if he'll actually see play, though.
Salvatore.
That's very good. Do you mind reading it? That's the first one.
That is the first one we pulled. We pulled a couple during pre-release. Sorry. Search your deck for a card that has no abilities and evolves from one of your Pokemon, and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. You can use this card on a Pokemon you put down when you were setting up to play, or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn.
Yeah, really. The no abilities part is really interesting. And one thing that people on Twitter have been talking about recently is previously there was a ruling that if you were playing a card like that let you search for an evolution, you could search for evolutions even if there wasn't one legal in format. Like, you can't search for an evolution from a card that doesn't evolve, like Melmetal.
Right.
But if there was a Melmetal break, you could then do it because Melmetal break exists, and so
the game
theoretically,
doesn't know that it's not in your deck.
Yeah, that was the previous ruling. They just re-ruled that no, you actually can't search for a card that doesn't exist. So you cannot play Salvatore to search for any evolution. If a card only evolves into Pokemon that have an ability, you can't use Salvatore. Okay. And if a card only evolves into a Pokemon that doesn't exist, like Raichu Break or something, then you can't play Salvatore, even though previously you could. Okay. Why is that important? Because maybe you want to burn a card just so you can Industrious Incisors one more. So it's always important to know when your opponent cannot legally play a card. Screamtail.
Heatmore.
Yep, you're good. Mudbray.
Beldum.
Snom. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. We know how interesting sleep can be.
Yes.
Hoot. Dunsparce.
Turtonator.
Golett. Well, great. We're not even halfway through.
Yeah.
That's okay. Again, we'll speed up as we have
Sorry.
seen these cards
Right.
before now.
Okay. Darkness Energy.
Water Energy.
Miraidon EX.
EX. Nice. Nice. Okay, so this one I have not seen. So obviously, theoretically, you could pair this with Miraidon.
Mm-hmm.
Repulsion Bolt. 60 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, this attack does 100 more damage, so 160, which interestingly is the same amount as Sparking Strike that the basic does, but for 1 less energy. And Cyber Drive, 220. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon can't use Cyber Drive. And obviously, again, it's a future Pokemon, so you can augment the damage, potentially. It does have a retreat cost of 1, but it is a dragon type, so no weakness. Right. Roaring Moon!
Yay!
Single prize Roaring Moon! Woot woot! Yes, we definitely need some of these bad boys to be able to use Vengeance Fletching. Fletching is attaching feathers to arrows to make them more aerodynamic. So that's where the name Fletcher comes from. So Vengeance Fletching, 70 plus, 10 more damage for each ancient card. Not ancient Pokemon, each ancient card in your discard pile. So that includes
trainers.
Yeah,
Trainers.
Any trainers. So Earthen Vessel, Professor Sada, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, all of those cards count. So this is a very, very powerful card. Yeah. Late game, Garrett could tell you the number. It can hit like 290 or something late game. That's, of course, not taking into account weakness. Rapidash.
Boxed order.
Why are you not Buddy Poffin?
Yeah, right?
Palafin. Flip 2 coins, 90 for each. Meh. Vanguard Punch 130. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself for each damage counter on it. I mean, that probably doesn't really matter. I guess the first time you use it, it's going to do 0. Mm-hmm. But most likely he's not surviving anyway. So 130 for a single energy is interesting, but unless you're doing like the Steelix, where it's also damaging your bench, and that's increasing the damage output of your Dodrio. Right. There was a deck like that, which I'm also curious to build, potentially. I'm not sure that's worth it.
Right. Iron Valiant.
Hand Trimmer.
Zero Aura. A Shocking Knuckle does 20 damage. Flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is not paralyzed.
Rabambi. Plentiful Pollen.
Screamtail.
Rescue Board.
Rubbin.
Shroomish.
Yamper.
Litten. This is the worst Litten, probably, but it is interesting to think about having your great big buff Incineroar EX be like, fake out, 10 damage, flip a coin if heads paralyzed.
Right.
But sometimes paralysis can win the game. That might be what you need to do.
Azumarill. I can never say that one.
Azumarill.
I always want to say Azumarill. Like I want to say Marill.
Honestly, we should. Marill, Azumarill.
Yeah.
We could look it up sometime.
I just always get tongue-tied on that one.
Yep. Rockruff. Paw Shake Punch.
Roly-Poly.
That's kind of a funny picture.
Yes.
Mincino. This is the worst Mincino, but art-wise, it's the better one because it's Yuka Morii. So it's like a clay sculpture. Discard up to 2 Pokemon tools from your opponent's Pokemon is an interesting effect.
Increase emphasis.
I'm also curious, now that I read that, if that counts as an effect on the Pokemon, or if it's an effect on the tool.
I don't know.
That would be interesting to rule. Like, does that work if you have Rabsca in play?
Okay.
And I'm choosing benched tools on benched Pokemon.
Yeah.
I want to say it still works because the effect isn't actually on the Pokemon themselves, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. Metal Energy.
Grass Energy.
For Alligator.
Ah, okay. This Bramblegast is very interesting. It is a single prizer, but its ability gives it plus 50 HP for each prize card your opponent has taken. So that means after your opponent takes 5 prizes, this boy has 350 HP.
Yep.
Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each head, so obviously that's not a very good attack. Curious if I think about, are there any Bramblin with good attacks? Because you could potentially pair it with Relicanth. You could also potentially using TM attacks, but those only last 1 turn, so that's not like a long-term solution. So it's definitely gimmicky, but
yeah,
it's very interesting.
Latias.
Allure, draw 2 cards would have been a good card to have in your potentially in your pre-release deck. This is also a good card to potentially have in your pre-release deck. Acapella, Chatot. Search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. This is probably better than if you were thinking about, Hero's Cape to go up to 450 damage. This Chatot is probably better than Bombardier EX. The one advantage of Bombardier EX is that it can attack turn 1 going first. But otherwise, this Chatot does the same thing and is only a single prizer.
Nice. Rescue Board.
Great. Whimsicott.
Roserade.
Full Metal Lab.
Metagross.
That's funny. Iron Jugulus.
Sharpedo.
Rabsca. Good.
Another Raichu.
What is Collateral?
Bolt. Collateral Bolts. This attack does 50 damage to each Pokemon that has any damage counters on it, both yours and your opponent, except for this Pokemon.
That's interesting. It means, so if it was just your opponent's Pokemon, you would want to use, Gapejaw Bog or something. But I guess if you're pairing it with Dodrio, potentially you still use Gapejaw Bog, but that's risky. Scyther.
Mr. Mime. Sorry,
Solosis.
Tranquil is
colorless. Lickitung. Tunpool.
Metacham.
Slugma.
Grass Energy.
Fighting Energy.
Relicanth.
Melmetal.
Chargebug.
Oh! Hey, look! It's a fancy gold Iron Crown EX.
Look at that!
I do want Iron Crown. I do not really want the gold one.
Super fancy one.
But that's fun.
That's fun.
And this is also very playable. So I'm pretty excited about that. And this is why Iron Crown EX is good. So attacks used by your future Pokemon accept any Iron Crown EX, so they don't augment themselves. But this does stack, do 20 more damage. So if you have 3 of these, you're doing 60 more damage with any of your other future Pokemon.
Okay.
So this guy's hitting for 280, or for 120 without damage, or for 160 to 220 with damage on the defending Pokemon. Nice. So gold, fancy Iron Crown EX. We still have not seen any hot pink, but
no.
I'm pretty excited about those 2 in particular. Iron Valiant.
Palafin.
Colossal, good. There's the 4th.
Sorry.
That's what we needed. That's what we needed. Salvatore. Explorer's Guidance. Okay, this is a good one for the single prize ancient box because it is itself an ancient card. Look at the top 6. You put 2 into your hand, discard the rest. You're trying to get ancient cards into the discard pile so that you can use Roaring Moon's Vengeance Fletching.
Lycanroc.
Mudsdale. This is the first one we've seen of this. A stage 1 with a single energy attack that just attaches a basic fighting energy card from your discard pile. Oh, to each. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I recant of my Mudsdale slander. I still would like it to do a little bit of damage, but attach a basic fighting energy card from your discard pile to each of your benched Pokemon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially. That is very interesting. High horsepower, 140. This Pokemon does 40 damage to itself. Bramblin, good. We need those if we want to play Bramblegast. Nuzleaf.
Electabuzz.
You can skip stage 1s. You can't skip basics.
No.
Except for Renucleus, I guess.
Not usually.
Meltan.
Skitty.
Call for family, but it's just 1. Okay. Elgium.
Scyther.
Golett. Iron Defense, flip a coin of heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage. I don't understand why they don't just want to make those the same. Make all those effects the same, but I guess that gives you options there.
Right.
Darkness Energy.
For Alligator.
Wow, honey, I think that's the third for Alligator.
I think that's the third one.
Bramblegast.
Alright.
Good.
Mighty Ina.
What's kick away?
Switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench.
Your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon? Yeah.
Can you put that over there, sir?
Carvana.
Nuzleaf.
Beldum.
Full Metal Lab.
Nice. Sandy Shocks.
Rabska.
Nice. Iron Valiant.
Fortress.
This is an interesting card. Heavy Baton. If the it's a tool. If the Pokemon this card is attached to has a retreat cost of exactly 4, is in the active spot, and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, move up to 3 basic energy cards from that Pokemon to your benched Pokemon in any way you like. Ooh. So Wishful Baton was similar to this. It did not have the retreat cost requirement, but you had to move 3 to 1 Pokemon. So in some ways this is better. What people are really talking about pairing this with is the Iron Hands. Iron Hands has a retreat cost of 4. So you power it up with peak acceleration and stuff, and you get it into the active. Hopefully you're boosting its damage with Iron Crowns, and then you have another Iron Hands on the bench, and Heavy Baton, if they knock out that one, you save the energy.
Pikachu.
Rellor.
Snom.
Drillbur. Okay, this is an interesting one. When you play, what does Excadrill do? Don't we have one? Oh, is it metal or is it fighting? Because it could be either. I thought we had one. It must be metal or fighting. It's not metal. Okay, so does that pair well? Takes 3 energy. Oh, this is the 3 energy 181. It's interesting. The Drillbur lets you, when you play it from your hand to your bench, you get to discard 3 basic fighting energy from your deck. So you search your deck for 3 fighting energy and discard them. So obviously you need some way to get them back, like maybe Sandy Shock's EX or something. But it also lets you thin your deck, which is really interesting. It's your turn.
Dunsparce.
Cutiefly.
Finizen.
Roselia.
Water Energy.
Lightning Energy.
Dunsparce.
That's a cool. So read the ability.
Alright. Run away, draw. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. If you drew any cards in this way, shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because it's like reloadable draw power. You can use it over and over again.
Yeah.
But then it also frees up a bench space when you use it, which might be really useful.
Oh! What did you get? Oh, nice.
Full art Airy. I'm not sure if this is like the best one. I see that it's like 2 silver stars, but I'm sure it's cool. I mean, let's be honest, she's a good trainer. She's female, and it's a full art trainer, so that means that people will want to buy it. So that is really, really cool. So there we go.
Yes, that was a very fun one. Scyther.
Excadrill. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Hey, our first ace spec is arguably the worst one, but you know, it's cool. It's an ace spec. We're happy about it. It does have some very interesting uses. Do you mind going ahead and reading it?
Alright. It says, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. If this card is attached to a Stage 2 Pokemon, this card provides every type of energy, but provides only 2 energy at a time.
Yep. Nice. There's our first ace spec.
Yes.
Hopefully not the last.
Hopefully not the last.
It is still an ace spec. Not wrong about that. Alright, Grubbin.
Unpheasant.
Oh, here's an Unpheasant. This is the first one we've actually seen. So, opposing wins. You may put 70 damage. You may put 2 energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand.
Okay.
That is interesting and has potential. But to power it up in one turn, you're probably using double turbo, so you're only hitting for 50 damage.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends on your opponent which deck you're playing. That could be really problematic for like a Charizard that is really counting on the energy acceleration from Infernal Rain. But
yeah,
Boundless
I
Power
guess I'm
180.
also thinking Matang. It powers from your deck, not your hand.
That's true.
So it would disrupt that. I mean, I don't know how good that card's going to be, but just like in what we
I think we really need to see the Unpheasant EX.
Yes.
That hopefully they will eventually. If they print that P-Dove, specifically name Unpheasant EX on it, and then never make an Unpheasant EX, that's just like, that's top level trolling right there. Is it my turn or your turn? I think it's my turn. Great Tusk. Okay, this is the other one.
Okay.
If your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, this attack does 80 more damage. So 160. That's potentially good if you're attacking into, like an Arceus or something.
Perilous Jungle.
Good. That is the other. I was just thinking there's another stadium.
I was wondering if there was another stadium. During Pokemon Checkup, put 2 more damage counters on each poisoned, non-darkness Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's.
Yeah, so you can potentially use this plus Radiant Hisuian Sneasler to add 4 to poison. So that's like base of 5. You're getting 1 plus 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
There are some attacks that put poison, and then the effect of the attack actually does more poison damage. So then you would have that plus another 4.
Yeah, plus.
But you, in general, what you're talking about is 4 more there. So a total of 5. Future booster.
Colossal.
Nice. Cincino. Okay, this is the really good one in Lugia. Special roll. This attack does 70 damage for each special energy card attached to this Pokemon. So it can hit 280 really easily. You do Archeops, 4 special energy, and then if you attach from hand, then that's 350.
Yeah. Totodile.
On a 1 prizer.
Right.
And they basically have to knock it out, right? They can't ignore that threat usually. Haunter. Super Poison Breath. Opponent's active Pokemon now poisoned for 2 darkness.
Seedot.
Duosion.
Meltan.
Mightyena.
Wiglet.
Bronzor.
Fire Energy.
Metal Energy.
Iron Valiant.
Iron Valiant. The same one. Same
Oh my
one.
goodness. Renucleus.
Okay, so there's the
go.
Renucleus. We haven't actually read this one this time.
Haven't.
We pulled a fancy version of this. So this is a very interesting effect. Summoning Gate. Look at the top 8 cards of your deck. You may put any number of Pokemon you find there onto your bench. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So obviously, you pair this with Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. You could potentially grab 2 Stage 2s, even potentially Archeops or something else. And anyway, you get to cheat them into play, so you get at least the top 2 guaranteed. Obviously, you still only have 5 bench spots, regardless, but it's really interesting because you could potentially just skip evolving altogether.
Right. Is that mine? Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's yours. Ooh! Fancy Shift Tree.
Ooh.
All right, so this is the same one that we read earlier, Expelling Tornado, where you can, knock Pokemon off of your opponent's bench. I think this would be extra good if there was a decent Shift Tree EX, so that you had the option of doing either. Although, in theory, with Renucleus, I mean, you could start putting any number of attackers in there that are Stage 2s and just cheat them into play. But that's a really cool looking card. Turtonator. Sableye, Damage Collection.
Hand Trimmer.
Lots of trimming hands.
Yes.
I need to trim my...
You need to trim your face.
My face.
Sandy Shocks.
Palafin.
Rescue Lord.
Yep, it's a tool.
Sorry, I had to think for a second.
Salvatore.
Ghastly.
Girafarig.
Mudbray.
Ramblin.
Bronzor.
Electabuzz.
Oh, sorry.
Got lightning all the way down.
All the way over there. Victini.
Skitty.
Fighting Energy.
Psychic Energy.
Iron Crown.
Yes!
EX.
Good. So that's the second base art that we have, and technically we got this fancy gold one if I really wanted to keep that one.
Right.
I don't in particular, but we will put Iron Crown right there. So that's cool. So that means we have the potential to do some future box action up in here. Fluttermane. Litten. Chatot.
Snoom.
Mincino.
Explorer's Guidance.
Good. I like that. Electivire. Okay, this is the first one we've seen. Short Circuit Knuckle. If your opponent has any water Pokemon in play, this attack does 120 more damage. So for a total of 160, but it's 2 colorless, so in theory you could use a double turbo and be hitting for 140. What's really interesting about that, and I don't know if it rotates or not, but there's an Electivire that I use in Zorobox that hits 50 to all of your opponent's Pokemon. All of them. I think it's all of them. Or maybe it's just the bench. No, I think it's all of them. What's really cool about that is you potentially use that Electivire and you hit everybody, and then if they bench Manaphy to block it, now you're hitting 160 or 140 with that one.
Nice.
Because they have a water Pokemon
in
play. Keldeo. Okay, so this is one of the Swords of Justice. It's a legendary or a mythical Pokemon. So rapid draw 20 damage, draw 2 cards.
We have 110. A theme deck based on
Keldeo. Yeah, Keldeo EX.
Budsdale.
Delmise. Okay, Steel Anchor. If you have any metal Pokemon on your bench, this attack does 80 more damage. That's interesting. I really think that would have been better if it just said, if this Pokemon has any metal energy attached, because then you could have... No, you can't use Reversal on this because it's a basic. but still, you have the potential there to one-shot
Right.
Charizard with a grass
Can
basic.
you
single
get me
grass.
some water?
Yes, dear.
You can just get it out of the fridge. You don't have to.
I mean, honestly, I think it'll be faster for it.
Maybe.
I pulled that Elmai, so I think it's your turn.
Bolton. Do we have one of these yet?
Maybe? Go ahead and read it.
Electrifying Dash, 50 damage. Search your deck for up to 2
yes.
basic lightning energy cards and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle your deck.
So, acceleration.
Thank you.
Okay. Finizen.
Poochyena.
Grotle.
Turtwig.
Carkol. That might be the first one. I think we pulled 4 Colossal, and only that's the first Carkol.
We have a couple really cool.
Yeah.
Ekans.
Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. And I think that Arbok does it for sure. Like, it's confused and poisoned.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting effect. Hey, my turn.
Carvana.
Not to be confused with the website. I got ahead of you somehow. Go ahead. Fluttermane. Nice. Melmetal. So you've had the Feraligatrs, and I've had the Melmetal.
Zeraora.
Roaring Moon.
Nice.
Yes. So that's at least 2 that we have.
Iron Thorn.
That's the manyth.
Yes.
Manyth Iron Thorns.
We have lots of those ones.
Oh,
another Ace Spec.
Yes, Ace Spec, Awakening Drum.
Yay.
Boom, 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 boom. That's good because Eric has they have 3 of the reboot pods, which are the future box Ace Spec specific one. So this again is only gonna go in 1 deck.
Right.
But it is very interesting and it is hot pink, so that's good. That's good.
Iron Hands.
Lycanroc.
Future Booster Energy Capsule.
It's a mouthful.
It is.
And it's not even a good acronym or anything, like FBEC.
Yeah, that's not.
Iron Jugulus. F-back. Back.
Steven. I
Steven.
showed Ryan that the other day. Funny. Okay. Raichu.
That's the 3rd of that Raichu you pulled.
Yeah, it is.
Scyther.
It's cute. Mr. Mime.
Solosis.
Tranquil.
Slugma.
Medicham is
I can't even think of what causes burn. I guess Incineroar EX causes burn.
There we go.
Lickitung.
Lightning Energy.
Speaking of Incineroar EX.
Roaring Moon.
Yes. I am so pumped about this card. I'm Full Art Airy. Whatever. Gold Iron Crown. It's ugly. But Roaring Moon, single prize. Yes, baby. Yes, baby.
Yes, please.
Another Miraidon EX.
Nice.
Future. I think that something is telling me to play Future Box. You really don't need Reboot Pod for Future Box. Although Neo Upper Energy is not going to help you there.
Cute little Mincino.
Oh, that's the Mincino.
Yes.
That still could see play, potentially, and it's obviously cute, so people will like it. So it's definitely cute. If it was the Cincino, I would be I don't know if there is a fancy version of Cincino, but all the Lugia players will really want that one. Boltund.
Golett.
This is why we'll never completely give up on opening packs. Again,
right.
Can't do this for every set. That would be financially irresponsible.
Quite irresponsible.
But it is super fun. It is super fun to open stuff.
It is.
I don't know what this bad boy is gonna gonna go for.
Yeah.
But it could
be fun.
Could be very,
It could be fun.
Could be very, very useful. Excadrill, very useful for getting the other cards in the set.
Ancient Booster Energy Capsule.
Nice. Roserade.
Havoc. That one flows a little bit better.
Havoc, yeah.
Sorry. How do you say this one?
Beheum.
Beheum.
Yep.
Beheum.
At least that's how I say it. I haven't looked it up recently. Meow. Macros.
Cottony. Hey, there we go.
Licky.
Chatot.
Croconaw.
Ponyta. Hey, there we go. A Rapidash over there.
Noctowl. Okay, so I'm curious. Talon Hunt, 70 damage. You may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck.
Rellor.
Good. Frostmoth. 1 Freezing Chill, 100. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't attack.
Nice. Metal Energy.
Psychic Energy. Whimsicott.
What? Carkol. Hey, there's our second one.
Haunter.
Puccina.
Elgium.
Box Order.
Shiftry.
Iron Treads.
Yeah, that one's not. I mean, it's
have we
so.
had this one yet?
No, not this time.
Okay.
The ability is interesting. It makes it both metal and fighting type. Is that only when it has a future?
I say as long as this Pokemon has a future booster energy capsule attached, it is fighting and metal type. Yep. Wheel Pass does 60 damage. Movement energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon.
Morty's Conviction. Okay, this is good, and we have some of these. You can use this card only if you discard another card from your hand. Draw a card for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon.
Okay.
Incineroar, I'm playing Lickitung, and I'm playing Morty's Conviction, and you will have bench Pokemon whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, Echoing Horn rotates.
Buddy Poffin!
Yay!
Finally!
We got one! Iron Hands. Yeah, again, full art Airy. Buddy Poffin. Yeah, baby. Shroomish.
Grubbin. I think we got off again.
Litten. Uh-oh.
The Emperor.
Oh, go ahead.
Azumarill.
Rockruff.
And Roly-Poly.
And Minccino.
All right. Last stack. Sorry, we're nerds.
We are super nerds. We gotta go through this one fast because.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
What are you doing over there?
Throwing my phone on the floor.
We need to go to bed early because sleeping has
been hard. Sleeping has been hard lately. I don't know why. All right. Grass.
Darkness.
Melmetal.
Drampa. Okay, we haven't had this one yet. If all of your bench Pokemon have at least 1 damage counter on them, this attack does 120 more damage for a total of 220.
Yeah,
for 3 colorless. I don't know. Like that's a tough
pre-release, and it's hard. I was like, nope,
yeah,
I can't.
That's a lot to ask for not enough damage, and it needed to be more, honestly.
Yeah,
to be worth it.
Oh, nice.
Yes, baby! And that one is one that people are excited about too.
Yeah.
So gold. Okay, hang on. So we're gonna move this over here.
Yeah, we need to rearrange this table. That is pretty.
Gold, gouging fire.
EX. Yes.
Yeah, we have it.
I say we have. I feel like we've done this one already. Yes, we have.
Wow.
That is pretty.
That is. Honestly, I like that gold better than
this one.
And better than the older gold ones. Especially because they let them keep their colors. I feel like the older gold ones just made them like
all
black
one
and
color.
Yeah. So that's man. Whew. Only buy cards from Paladin, guys.
Yeah.
That's the lesson. Also, Paladin gambling is bad for you. Okay, Centiskorch. We have not had this one. Oh, Singe. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. Charring Breath, 180. If your opponent's active Pokemon isn't burned, this attack does nothing.
Oh, okay.
I will have to look at other ways to cause burn, but it only takes 2 fire, which is really interesting. There's an old Centiskorch.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I'm sorry. There's an old Centiskorch that I actually just bought in one of those random, like, try to get to $5 orders, and its ability was, like, even if your opponent flips heads between turns, burn doesn't go away.
Nice, that's fun.
And that, like, we need something like that.
Right.
And there's an old stadium that special conditions didn't go away with evolution, but I'm not sure. We don't have anything like that right now. Good. Cypher Maniacs, Code Breaking, Sharpedo,
Sawbuck.
Oh, okay, that one's really interesting, and of course they're giving it to us right after Path rotates.
Changing Seasons. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a stadium card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck.
Yeah, I'm not sure what deck needs a stadium that badly that it would be worth playing the Sawsbuck for, but I guess Espathra with Pokemon League headquarters could potentially be one. Zeraora.
Mist Energy.
Finally some Mist Energy going on. We got some,
but
so Mist Energy provides single colorless energy, prevents all effects of attacks. So this is things again like placing damage counters, poison, special conditions, frenzy, gouging, instant KO, all that kind of thing.
Those are all effects.
Yep. Buddy Puffin.
Hey.
Yes.
Drilbur.
Grubbin. Cutiefly. Torracat.
Rosalia.
Yamper.
Oh, sorry. Girafarig.
Heatmore.
Water Energy.
Lightning Energy.
Brambleghast.
Nice. Yes. Roaring Moon.
Nice.
Yes. That's some one we came in. I was saying that I needed. Now we need some more hot pink.
Azumarill.
Specifically, the one that starts with Prime and ends with Catcher would be great. Raichu. Lounging Raichu.
Yeah.
Touching Grass Raichu. Storage. Explorer's Guidance. Good.
Eerie.
Good. Delcatty. Tail Trickery, 30 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Energy Blender, 110. You may move any amount of energy from your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like.
Oh, interesting.
That is very interesting. Unpheasant. Great Tusk. The non-mill one. Heatmore. Mudbray.
Beldum.
Snom.
Hoot.
Have we really only pulled 2 dragon? I mean, we've got plenty of... I think we have plenty of Miraidon. Miraidon for sure. I'm not sure about Koraidon.
I know I pulled a couple of Koraidon.
Okay, Dunsparce.
Turtonator.
Golett.
Fire.
Metal. Yes!
Torterra EX.
Yes! I am so happy! Torterra EX, baby! I love Torterra. The single prize Torterra deck is super fun. And then you can throw down this bad boy, who has, a lot of HP. Although, admittedly, the Stage 2 Torterra has 190. This guy has 340. 30 damage for each of your grass Pokemon in play. So 6 times 3, that's 180 for 1 energy. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Is it your turn?
Yes. I pulled my turn to pull Frog.
Look at that.
So that's like the 15th
Great
Frog
Tusk.
that we have. Is that the mill one? That is the mill one. Yeah. Breloom.
Meditate.
Torracat.
Renucleus.
Good. That one's so interesting. I want to build bad decks around it. Iron Shreds.
Sandy Shocks.
Ancient Booster Energy Capsule.
Iron Valiant.
Bronze. Oh, Evolution Jammer Bronzong. Yes. Want more of those.
Ramblin.
Good. Roly Coly.
Electabuzz.
Breloom.
Skitty.
Beldum.
Scyther.
Hoothoot.
Psychic Energy.
Miraidon.
Miraidon.
Single prize Miraidon. That's really funny.
Dunsparce.
Not that was one that we needed, but it's all good. Latias.
Ekans.
Vikavolt.
Perilous Jungle.
Nice. Keep wanting to call it Primordial Jungle. It's Perilous Jungle.
Colossal.
Good. Cincino. Good. Another one.
Explorer's Guidance.
Fantastic. Electivire.
Meditate.
Narrow.
Mawile.
Sizzlipede. Coming back to that now.
Pineco. Oh, Pineco goes in metal.
Yes. Yes, because of Fortress.
Yeah.
Although Fortress EX is grass, so.
Oh, is it?
But it's.
We want to have them together.
Yeah.
For
well,
when we sort
the
that.
thing with Fortress EX, I think it is a Terra type Pokemon, but like, it's metal and bug. It's steel and bug actually in the video game,
right.
So it could be grass anyway.
Right.
It's not like grass is an abnormal type.
Yeah.
Although, I think most of the cards, they're mostly metal.
Magcargo.
Oh, we haven't had this one yet. Okay. Lava Zone. Whenever your opponent's active Pokemon moves to the bench during their turn, their new active Pokemon is now burned.
There we go.
That's how you do it. Oh, that's right. This is the one that the ability was originally translated by the folks on Twitter as "the floor is lava."
Oh yeah.
Which would have been so great, but I'm sure there's like copyright things there. So Lava Zone. All right, so that's what you need to make the Centiskorch work.
Here you go.
Gengar EX.
Hey.
Yeah. Whenever your opponent attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So the main thing that's problematic for, at like big numbers wise, is Chanpao, because all of their energy acceleration is from hand. There are some other things, so anything that's using... I was going to put it here, at least for now.
Yeah.
Anything that's using Natu and Zatu, that's from hand.
Okay.
So anyway, that's really interesting. Oh, I didn't even read the attack. Tricky Steps, 160. You may move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their benched Pokemon. So ideally, you put it on something that's not meant to attack, like Bibarel.
Right. Perilous Jungle.
Good. I wanted some of those. Finizen.
Roly-Poly.
Lickilicky.
Heavy Baton.
Good. Great Tusk. Mill.
Screamtail.
Latias.
Palafin.
Vikavolt.
Solosis.
Churchinator.
Slugma.
Meditate.
Lickitung.
Mawile.
Sorry, these cards are all crazy.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of cards. We're going to take that ETB and...
yeah. Shroomish. We've got to do something with them before morning.
Pineco. Yeah, they definitely
Lightning
can't sit
energy.
out here. Fire energy.
Roaring Moon.
Nice. Definitely got it locked down. I think that's 5 now. Mag Cargo.
Hoot Hoot.
C-Dot.
Shroomish.
Victini. Fire type.
Mudsdale.
Delmise.
Bolton.
Caldeo.
Rapidash.
Excadrill.
Deerling.
Pikachu.
Totodile.
Haunter.
C-Dot. Oh, this one's like a little knit one. I don't know if our other ones have been like that. Oh, really cute.
Who's the artist? Bottom left.
Asako Ito? I'm very bad at pronouncing English names, let alone non-English names.
Asako Ito.
Asako Ito.
Yeah.
Okay, I was right.
Cool.
I was right.
Duosion, so there's your Solosis and Duosion.
Yep. Meltan.
Mightyena.
Fighting Energy.
Water Energy.
Iron Thorns goes here. Like, where is it going?
Iron Thorns.
Oh boy. Caldeo.
Sorry, dear.
No, it's okay.
Solosis.
Rockruff.
Palafin.
Salvatore.
Nice. Fortress.
Lycanroc.
Shaman.
Iron Drugulus.
Golurk. Very interesting Golurk.
Litten.
Pidove.
Rockruff.
Deerling.
Mincino.
Totodile.
Mudbray.
C-Dot.
Psychic Energy.
Darkness Energy.
Dunsparce.
Nice. Dunsparce. Another different Gouging Fire EX.
Wow.
So many banana hats. As Garrett said that earlier. Actually, that's the last comment still. Big banana hat. So many banana hats.
Okay, so this is like the regular one. That's the golden one. What's that one?
So this one is 38 of 162, 2 black stars. This one is 188 of 162, 2 silver stars. And this is 214 of 162, 3 gold stars.
Cool beans.
So, yeah. I guess we're supposed to play Gouging Fire.
Apparently. Mawile.
Rapidash.
Explorer's Guidance.
Ponyta.
Ancient Booster Energy Capsule.
Nice. Roserade.
To go with our Gouging Fire.
Indeed. So much ancient booster. Behium.
Can't. Cypher Maniacs Code Breaking. I want to say Cypher Codes Maniac Breaking. I couldn't.
Okay, don't hurt yourself.
I can't. It's starting to get late, guys.
Bronzor.
Poochyena. I like that art on that Poochyena. It's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of retro.
It is. Turtwig.
Oh,
Have we had this one?
It's
Solid Shell. This Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks.
The problem with all of the Turtwig is that they are more than 70 HP, so you can't pull them with Buddy Puffin. Grodel. That's fitting.
Ekans.
Yes, we could potentially hope for one more Ace Spec, and
Water.
We'll see.
Oh. Iron Boulder EX.
That's the third one overall that we pulled. The second one today. Nice. Sorry, my turn. Relicanth.
Roserade.
Skitty.
Bramblin,
Iron Hands,
Bianca's Devotion,
Full Metal Lab,
Shift Tree,
Iron Jugulus.
Morty's Conviction. We have this one?
Yeah. That's the discard
Oh,
one, draw
yeah,
for
yeah.
each of your opponent's bench Pokemon.
Yeah.
Rabsca.
Snome. Sorry, it's a little bit of a reach for me to go over there.
Arbok. Okay, here we go. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned, confused, and poisoned.
What?
Burned, confused, and poisoned.
I like it.
I like it, too.
Done
And they can't play any item cards. Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would automatically be a good deck.
Golett.
Puccina. Everybody would have to play the Gengar that lets you switch.
Yeah.
Turtwig. Good.
Fire Energy.
Metal Energy.
Koraidon.
Good. Iron Valiant.
Frostmoth.
Metacham.
Drampa.
Fluttermane.
Sawbuck. Sawsbuck. Sorry.
And that one actually has several different forms based on the season.
Yeah. Mist Energy.
Good.
There we go.
Good. Buddy Poffin.
Okay.
Nice. Going out strong.
Nucleus.
Good. Iron Shreds.
Carvana.
Matang.
Cottony.
Lickalicky.
Chatot.
Croconaw.
Ponyta.
Oop, I accidentally pulled Noctowl and Fire Energy.
Okay. Psychic Energy.
Boom! Farigiraf EX.
So this one's fun. Sorry, I'm really bad at this whole camera thing.
It's okay, our cameras are bad. Okay, so Armor Tail, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon EX. Okay? Dirty Beam, 160. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So the basic barrier thing, potentially, against certain decks, obviously, that's going to be really powerful. Not against all of them, which is going to make that tricky to use. And of course, the obvious deck that runs primarily basic EXs as an attacker is going to be Roaring Moon. Although Roaring Moon gets weaker post-rotation, but, Mist Energy, find a way to accelerate to it. And it's Darkness type, which is really interesting.
Right.
Okay, cool. Dunsparce. I'm okay with that.
Rabsca.
Nice. We've got several of those. Beheeyem.
Turtwig.
Good. I like having Turtwig. Electivire.
Iron Hands.
Hand Trimmer. We're going to trim our Iron Hands.
Yeah. Explorer's Guidance.
Ribombee. I don't think another Ace Spec is in the cards, but
don't think we get another one.
I don't think we can complain too much when we pull two golds and stuff.
And multiple alt arts and Sizzlipede.
Ekans.
How do you say this?
Elgium. Carvana.
Ghastly.
Elgem. It might just be Elgem. Cottony.
And Pikachu.
And Chatot. Which is
not a bad card.
All right. Whew,
that was
man.
fun. It was a lot, but it was fun.
It was a lot. We're going to have to... Okay, let's look at each pile and find what's the best card in each pile.
Yeah, honestly, I've got...
I think the Centiskorch and the Mag Cargo are interesting. Man, if special conditions removed... If special conditions removed abilities, then this would be crazy good. The Mag Cargo would be. I honestly think this Ekans is really interesting. But obviously Roaring Moon is the best in the Darkness pile.
Yeah, we've got Iron Thorns, Iron Hands, and then the Vikavolt that we had talked about.
Probably Vikavolt. especially
That's a
because
fun one.
it's more unique in terms of the
Right.
from pre-release versus not. Unfortunately, I think Feraligatr might be the best one here because the Palafin is not good. All right, so we'll just go with.
What do you feel about
there. Which one is it? Fighting?
Fighting.
Oh, Carkol for sure.
Carkol.
Like, or Colossal. That's what I mean.
Okay. And grass. Obviously, we've got the Rabska family. That was interesting. Shift Tree could be interesting.
Shift Tree is very interesting.
Oh, the Bramblegast.
Bramblegast, probably for sure.
Let me find him.
Although a less reliable attacker, since you have to flip for it.
True.
Okay, cool.
Alright.
Yeah, so thanks for
Here
hanging
we
out with
are.
us, anybody. Obviously, Garrett, thank you for hanging out with us. We are gonna pack these up and go to bed soon.
Yes.
But it's been a absolute blast, and we definitely pulled a lot of really fun things.
Yes.
So we're gonna go ahead and sign off now. As always, play.